Hey everyone, welcome to our Tuesday night Michelle's Formula for Success. And I am coming to you from New Zealand today. And I was just a bit hesitant about the bandwidth that I have where we're staying. So I have actually pre-recorded this one for you today. But if you have any comments or questions while you're watching the video, please just put them down because I'll keep an eye on it and then I will come back and answer any queries that you have or any follow-ups that we need to do. So what are we talking about tonight? We are talking about planning. So for those of you who've watched some of my webinars or videos before, you might realize that I do spend a lot of time talking about how planning is at the absolute heart and key of productivity in your business. So tonight, as I said, I'm in New Zealand and I am pre-recording this for you. We're actually staying near Rotorua on the beautiful Lake Rotoiti. As stunning. I did prepare a slide with a picture for you. That is actually the view from our bedroom window. And you can see that we are literally only about 10 big steps away from the water. So whilst it is beautiful, the last couple of days, there has been a cyclone in New Zealand. So it hasn't always looked like that for the time that we've been here. Anyway, so let's get on to tonight's topic. And I just want you to kick back, take some notes if you want to, or just grab a cuppa or a glass of vino and just settle in and find out what it is about planning and why it is part of Michelle's Formula for Success. So when we look at these topics each week, like my purpose around everything I do is to help business owners succeed. And the more knowledge and skills that I can share with you, the more opportunity I have to help and support you. So that becomes a win-win. So this week, I'm going to share with you a way of planning that aligns everything that you do to your purpose and your mission for your business, and what sort of rhythms to adopt to ensure that every day your activity is laser focused. Now, alignment is crucial to business success. So when your company's purpose, mission, and your values are all aligned, everyone from your prospective clients or customers to potential employees know who you are, what you do, and what you stand for. So ensuring that the planning process is designed to support your business success means that you also have to have your planning aligned with your company's purpose, mission, and values. So that was the Rotoriti slide. So there's many reasons why people just like yourself want to learn more about planning in their business. And planning is about regularly setting goals and, more importantly, tracking your progress towards those goals and making changes to your business as you learn more about your customers. Now, studies have proven that companies that plan and review their results regularly really do grow around 30% faster than companies that don't. And beyond having faster growth, the research also shows that companies that plan actually perform better. They're less likely to become one of those sad statistics of businesses that fail or business that experience a cash flow crisis that threatens to close them down. Because even though you might be growing and successful, if you're not managing your cash flow, that growth can actually kill your business if it's not managed properly. Another reason you might want to learn about planning is you want to keep moving in the direction of your BHAG. That's your big, hairy, audacious goal. You know, the one that just scares you a little bit, but it's also known as your mission. And other people, they want to learn about planning because they want to keep their effort focused, and they want to start with the big picture, but break it right down from annual into quarterly, into weekly, and then into daily chunks, so that everything that you're doing in your business every single day is aligned with your purpose and your mission. And then other people want to learn about planning simply because they're curious to see how the practice of having a high level of accountability, which is built into this planning cycle, actually improves performance in the business. Now, I did mention the term BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. And sorry, I'm just going to. I should have done that before I started, so I apologize for that. So BHAG, that was first coined in a 1994 book called Built to Last, Successful Habits of Visionary Companies. And that was written by Jim Collins and Jerry Porras. Now, they describe it as a compelling, long-term goal that inspires everyone in the business. And one of the quotes from their book is that the power of the BHAG is that it gets you out of thinking too small. And a great BHAG changes the time frame and simultaneously creates a sense of urgency. Now, as I mentioned, a true BHAG requires a long-term commitment and generally can't be achieved in 2 or 3 years. We're looking at something like 5 or 10 years, depending on where you are in your business and what your end goal is. Or you could even be planning out for longer. You might be planning out for 20 years into the future. Depends, as I said, on your business, where you are, where you want to end up, and what the future looks like for you. But one important thing, though, is even though the BHAG encourages you to think big, but you have to make sure that it's doable. It's just not this random long shot or pipe dream that you came up with. Like, at a minimum, you really should have probably at least a 50% probability of being able to achieve it. Now, one of the most famous BHAGs is President Kennedy's 1961 declaration: this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely. And of course, this national commitment resulted in the historic moon landing in 1969. And if you're like me, you can actually remember exactly where you were when you first heard the details of that moon landing. And some examples of some other famous BHAGs that you've probably heard of, but you didn't realize it was an organization BHAG. But for Google, it is to organize the world's information. For Tesla, to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And Microsoft, a computer on every desk and in every home. Now, let's just spend a little bit more time exploring this concept of BHAG and look at the types of big, hairy, audacious goals that you might like to set for your business if you don't already have one. So the first type is called a role model. Now, this is where you would emulate the traits of another well-known and highly successful company. For example, you might aim to become the Uber or the Nike of your industry. The second one is called common enemy. And this is where you set the intention to overcome the top companies in your industry to become the leader yourself. The third one is targeting. So this type of BHAG is about setting a clearly defined quantitative or qualitative goal, such as becoming a billion-dollar company or becoming number one in an industry. And the fourth one is internal transformation. Now, normally that category would be best used for a large established company who are actually looking to overhaul their systems or processes, or their positioning in the market and that sort of thing. So what makes a good BHAG? So as the name suggests, B, it's big. It's so big that it's not something that your organization can accomplish in a year or 2 years or 3 years. It takes a minimum of 5 to 10 years, sometimes longer, to accomplish something this ambitious. Hairy. The idea seems a bit wild and a bit crazy because it's so forward-thinking and so out of the box. Often it's something that you have never done before, i.e. gets you out of your comfort zone. Audacious. There should be a gasp factor in there that makes you sit up and go, huh, when you first think about it or hear yourself say it out loud. And the next emotion that you should feel is that it is exactly the right idea for your company and you to pour your heart and soul into. And G for goal. So the BHAG must have a clearly articulated goal or goals connected to the company's strategies, which can be measured so that you know when you've achieved your success and you can then celebrate it. So what we go from here, when you've created your BHAG, so how do you actually align your planning process with this to make sure that every day the key tasks that you assign for yourself or your team, that every day what you're doing will keep you moving towards your BHAG? Well, let me share with you a very simple 5-step process that will help you become laser focused and help you achieve all the goals you've set for yourself. So the first step is the annual review. So this could be looked at as mining for gold, because what we're wanting to do is look at what's happened in the last year, what you're good at, what you're not so good at, and what's happening externally. So to bring that into layman's language or start to help you structure this, the first thing you look at is what have you accomplished in the last year? Now, this is super important because often, particularly as small business owners, we don't take the time to A, stop, and B, review and celebrate and feel good and tick stuff off. So this is the time where you come up with, 10, 15, there might be 20 things that you can come up with when you actually stop and think about it. The second one is your lessons learned. So any learnings, insights, discoveries, observations, aha moments. And this could be from something positive that happened, or it could be from something negative that happened. Third thing you look at is strengths, both for the business and for a small business. As a business owner, you would look at your personal strengths as well, because you are essentially the business. So the traits that you have tend to carry over into your business. The fourth thing we look at is weaknesses, and same as above, for the business and for yourself. And the fifth thing that we look at is trends. What is happening out there? What's happening with technology? What's happening with distribution? Are there any product innovations in your industry? How is the market changing? What are the consumer trends? What are the social trends? What's happening economically? Interest rates going up, mortgage repayments going up, inflation up. What does that do to the discretionary income of your target customer, and how is that likely to impact on your business? So for each of these, you're aiming to have around about, as I said, 10 or 15 responses, maybe more, but try and get as many as possible so that you've actually given it some thought and really looked at the totality of the last year. Now, the second step here is the determining the strategic issues. So we're looking for leverage. So from each category that we had in the first step, so you had the 5 categories of accomplishments, strengths, weaknesses, lessons learned, I've got them around the wrong way, and trends, but that doesn't matter, you get the idea. So from each of those, you select the top 3 that if you leveraged it or improved on it, this would have the biggest impact on getting your business closer to your BHAG. And then you word them as a strategic issue by asking yourself the following question: how do we, and then you have an objective given that, and there'll be at least 1, maybe 2 or 3 obstacles. For example, if you've identified, I'll get my mouth working correctly shortly, a weakness that you are not using LinkedIn for business and you want to, then a strategic issue could be, how do I use my connections on LinkedIn to grow my revenue, which is your objective, given that I don't know how to use LinkedIn, which is the obstacle. So then we get to step 3, which is creating your annual priorities. Now, sometimes you will have priorities that you identify as an annual priority, but it's not something that is ever going to be completed. And when you do your review, you look at it and you score yourself to make sure that quarterly you're getting 10 out of 10. Now, an example of that might be your customer service goals, where you have certain KPIs to meet, and every quarter you're checking and reviewing. And if they're not on track, then you put things in place to correct that. And then the other type of annual priority that you'll come up with is something that can be ticked off and celebrated. So it is a defined goal that once the project's finished, it's done and dusted, and it's helping you move towards your BHAG. So for each of the strategic issues that we created in step 2, you now create an annual priority that is written in the present tense, and it's a SMART goal. So SMART goal means it is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That way you can actually measure how you've done it. So if we look at the example from the previous step, the annual priority could sound like, I am creating meaningful conversations with 5 connections on LinkedIn every week, and my contact list is now expanded to 1,000 connections. So if you had an annual priority like that, you would know precisely when you've achieved it, because you would tick off all of those quantitative measures. So once you've created your annual priorities, now we break that down to what are you going to focus on in the next quarter. So this is prioritizing the actions that you need to take in the coming year. So you have a list of annual priorities, and you'll probably end up with somewhere 12, 15 or so. To create a quarterly priority, you choose the top 5 annual priorities that when you have completed them, they will have the biggest impact on moving your business towards its BHAG. And then they become your quarterly goals, which you will then work on achieving for the next 12 weeks. Then how do we break it down even further? So each week you create 5 goals. And again, these are all SMART goals. And that's what you are going to work on this week. But each of those weekly goals needs to relate directly to a quarterly goal. So for argument's sake, you wouldn't say to yourself, oh, this week I'm going to work on website design if none of your quarterly goals actually relate to website design. It might be something that you need to work on, but you're not going to do it this quarter. You will do it at some stage. Then once you've got your 5 weekly goals, then you can break it down even further into 3 daily tasks. So 3 things that are your priority to complete every day that relate directly to your weekly goals. Now, this is completely separate from having like your normal day-to-day work in your business, meeting with your accountant, doing all of those sorts of things, or responding to customers. These are the tasks that are going to move your business forward. So if I had to describe it, I would say that these 3 tasks are when you are working on your business, and then what you do for the rest of the day is you working in your business. So I hope that all makes sense. And then step 5 is your review and accountability. So this is essentially, what are your meeting rhythms and what is your commitment to making sure that you have accountability built into every step of the process. Because it's all well and good to have a plan, but if you don't make sure regularly that you are on track and you're working on the right stuff, then your plan is not going to deliver you the results that you want. So as I said, step 5 is review and accountability. So daily huddles. Now, this is a 2 to 3 minute meeting connection from a Tuesday to a Friday. So we're assuming we're working Monday to Friday here. So you're reporting in to your team, your teammate, your accountability buddy, whether yesterday's tasks were done, not done, in progress, what are your 3 tasks for today, and what bottlenecks you've come up with. And as I said, you don't go into long explanations about this. It keeps the whole connection very short, 3 to 5 minutes. For people with teams that work remotely or in different time zones, then you might have this as a chat group where everybody reports in at the start of their shift. Now, your weekly huddle, that's done on a Monday. So you have your 5 goals from last week and they're done, not done, in progress. Your 5 goals for this week and today's 3 tasks, any bottlenecks, and a value to be lived for the week, and any wins that you want to celebrate. So this could take, I don't know, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 11, 12, something like that. Depends on your team and how quickly you talk, I guess, too. If you talk like me, probably only be 6 or 7 minutes. But this is the way to just keep everything accountable. So, if you don't have time for daily huddles every day, which I would encourage, but if you don't, please make sure that the weekly huddle is actually a key part of your routine. And for people who work with me in my support package after my Foundations of Success workshop, we have a weekly accountability group where at the start of each week, you post your weekly goals from last week, done, not done, in progress, what you're doing this week, etc. The outline that I gave you before. And this is particularly good for people who work by themselves and don't have an accountability buddy. At least you know that there will be eyes on you once a week. Then you should book in a time with yourself for a monthly review. And this is just to check progress, tick anything that's finished, celebrate any wins, discuss or review any roadblocks that are coming up. After a month of working on your quarterly goals, what you may realize is that something you thought you could finish in 12 weeks is actually bigger than Ben-Hur, and it needs to be further broken down into subsets so that you can at least achieve part of it in the 12 weeks. Then quarterly, you should set aside preferably half a day to a day. Again, depends on your business, size of team. And if you can make this away from your normal work environment, that's even better, because you want to be really focused on reviewing, ticking off what you've done, celebrating, setting new quarterly priorities from your annual priorities. And you can do a whole complete review of the 5 things we talked about in the annual review if you want to at this stage as well. Again, as I said, it really does depend on you and your business. And as you work through these cycles, you yourself will understand what's best for your business. And then we get to annual planning, which is basically we're back here at the start. We just start again at step 1, and we tick off anything that has been completed, and we go through the whole what are our accomplishments in the last 12 months, strengths, weaknesses, lessons learned, trends, etc. And again, if you can create this offsite away from your normal work environment, and it's important to book these in at the start of your year. Like, make sure that you are making appointments with yourself to make sure that all of the steps of your planning happens the way that it is supposed to. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, but what if? So I've just come up with a couple of questions that I get asked quite regularly about this planning process. So what if I am the only person in my business? Who can I be accountable with and do the huddle? Now, I did mention before about having an accountability group in our group program, but you don't have to join my group. You can if you want to, but find yourself an accountability buddy. Like, we sometimes, particularly if you are a solopreneur, you tend to get so focused on, you are working in your business and you feel like you have to do everything yourself. But remember, working together, we can all achieve more together. So find somebody who's in a similar position to yourself, not necessarily in the same industry, but somebody who has the same commitment as you and is willing to be supportive, but also really be honest with the feedback. This isn't a little, let's get together and tell each other how wonderful we are. You have to actually really be honest with each other. And if the other person is continually saying, not done, not done, not done, there's something wrong there. And you, as an accountability buddy, have a responsibility to be honest and bring that up and point that out and ask them why that's happening. What if you don't have a BHAG? Well, I can help you with that if you want me to, or you can just take the content that I've talked about today and come up with one yourself. Use it as a guide, and if you do create one by yourself and you want to have a chat about it, feel free to reach out to me as well. And what if I don't get my weekly goals done? Well, aside from the obvious answer of your business isn't really going to grow that well, when you keep having something that is not done, not done, not done, like at the end of the first week, you would carry it over, maybe at the end of the second week. But if you are continually not achieving your weekly goals, there's a roadblock there, or you're severely underestimating the time it's going to take to do things, and you're choosing goals that are really too big for the week and need to be broken down. And this is the beauty of regular reviews, because this doesn't continue on until the end of the quarter and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I didn't get that done. You are looking at this all the time. And again, I am here to help you. So if you are finding that you're setting your own goals for yourself, but you're not actually achieving them, let's have a chat and see what's happening and what's going on, and whether it is, you're trying to, bite off way more than you can just literally chew at one time, or if there is actually some limiting belief behind there saying to you, well, no, we can't do this. Either way, please feel free to reach out anytime you like. Now, I mentioned before, sorry, my Foundations of Success program. Now, the core part of the foundations is getting you crystal clear on your purpose, your mission, and your values, and then working with you to show you how you can align your planning and your review process so that you are always, every single day, focused on exactly what you should be doing. As I mentioned, I can help you in a couple of different ways. I do offer a complimentary 30-minute business health check, and we can work through what the key issues are for you and come up with a strategy that will suit you. Or you can book in for the next 2-day workshop where we will roll up our sleeves and literally work our way through the entire planning process after we've either set up your purpose, mission, and looked at your values, or reviewed your current purpose and mission. And at the end of the workshop, you will literally have your quarterly and weekly goals ready for the next Monday, and you can jump straight into a 90-day sprint to kickstart your business. So the next workshop will be on the 30th and the 31st of March. So if you are watching this and you would like to book in for the workshop, just comment below workshop. If you would like to have a chat with me, comment below business health check, and I will send you the link to book in with me. But thank you very much, everybody. I hope that you found today's little discourse on planning and the importance of aligning this with your purpose and your mission and your values for your business. I hope you found it super helpful. And I look forward to chatting with you next week. And I always do this. Next week is about setting up your organizational structure to help your business grow and eventually have you at the point where you are only working on the things in your business that actually excite you, and that everything else is being done by other people. So I look forward to seeing you then. And as I said, please comment below if you would like to talk to me or work with me. Thanks so much. Bye.